In today's episode, once again, we speak to the beautiful Juliana Garcia. Juliana is a CEO and Colombian immigrant to the USA. She has built a 2.5 million business in 2 years, helping coaches clarify the message, get fully booked, and charge premium prices. She has been featured in ABC, CBC, Forbes, Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast, and the docu-series Millionaire Within Her with Marisa Peer. She has had phenomenal success with so many coaches in so many different areas. So today we're asking Juliana how we can attract premium clients and charge accordingly. Let's find out. Welcome. This is Gull, your money mindset expert. And once again, we have the amazing, the beautiful, the charming, and daring, might I add, Juliana Garcia. Welcome, Juliana.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you so much for sharing your time, wisdom, and your personal story with us on Friday Feature. We had to have you back on Money Talkies. Julia, everyone's heard how amazing you are, but please tell everybody in your own words what it is that you do.
Yeah. So my name is Juliana Garcia. And what I do is I help coaches clarify their marketing message so that they can attract premium clients to their coaching business.
Fantastic. And this leads us on to today's topic, which is how to attract premium clients and charge accordingly. So what are the steps, or how do we go about doing this? I know a lot of people are looking at this as a, they do want to attract premium clients, but actually we should give a definition. What's your definition of a premium client?
I love it. I was about to start there. So we are on the same wavelength. So my definition of a premium client, what most people think a premium client is somebody who can just pay you a lot of money, right? So that's one layer, but that's not really where it stops for me. What a premium client is to me is somebody who is really committed to their results, who doesn't need hand holding in order to create the result, who's not going to drain you from all of your capacity, all of your energy, because they've paid you money. And so, a lot of people, like when I had an agency, I remember people were paying me like $5,000 a month for the agency, but they were so demanding and they wanted me to reply at 11 p.m. all the time. That's not a premium client to me. They're paying me $5,000 a month. That sounds premium, but it's not really, they're not showing up in a premium way. And so to me, the definition of a premium client is somebody who's willing to invest at the highest level in themselves and also show up in a premium way inside of the containers.
Okay, that sounds brilliant, and that's a great definition. And what sort of so how do we start attracting such people? Because based on your definition, there are a number of times we think we're attracting premium clients, but they don't show up in a premium way. And I can think of, I'm quite lucky. I tend to attract very, very premium clients, but there have been from the hundreds of people I do have a couple of examples of which haven't been so great. So how do we start? How do we do this?
Okay, so the first step is to really understand what is different about, what needs to be different about the language that you use or the clarity that you have around your premium client. So most marketing out there teaches you that you need to speak to pain points and that you need to really amplify the fear so that people really want to buy. And that is the common marketing advice out there. And what happens, if you think about this from an energetic perspective, when we attract what we are, if you are using the frequency of fear and urgency and pain in your message, you are going to attract people who are operating at the same frequency.
Yes.
This is why when I work with my clients, we clean all of that up because they probably downloaded, or watched a webinar from some OG guru, whatever, that teaches these kind of principles of manipulation or persuasion. Persuasion can be used in good and bad. So I use persuasion in a good way for the greater good. And maybe people have watched those trainings. And so they think, oh, I need to really make people like feel their pain and then get them out of there. And so that attracts people who are in fear and in pain. That attracts people who are not empowered. So of course, we end up having conversations around their price and why they can't pay you and why they want a refund and why they're not happy with you and why they blah, blah, blah. And you're the next person that they blame for their lack of success. And so the cycle becomes, and this is why the coaching industry has this tendency where people are jaded, quote unquote, because this happens a lot. But really the core solution, the core thing that needs to be cleaned up is the energy in the messaging. So instead of speaking to people's pain points and honing those in, the most important thing we can do to attract premium clients is understand that premium clients don't feel attracted to that fear-based message. That's not, because that's not how they're operating. They operate in a different way. They think about solutions. They think about their aspirational identity. They think about where they want to go. They're future focused. So what we want to do is really speak to the empowered version of our client. The empowered version, meaning somebody who feels they're self-sufficient, somebody who doesn't need to be saved, somebody who's not in a victim mentality, somebody who knows that they would just want to work with a coach because it's just faster and easier than having to do it alone, but who doesn't think, if I don't hire a coach, I'm doomed for the rest of my life and I need to be saved in order to get to where I want to be. Right. So these are some distinctions that sometimes, when I work with coaches and with clients who are attracting people who don't pay on time, or who have, it just doesn't feel good to work with them, or they need to have a big sales process in order for them to be a yes, is because on the front end, the marketing is just attracting the wrong people and is missing out on the premium speak that really actually would attract premium clients. Does that make sense?
It does. And then the question is, well, how do I know how to speak? What sort of language should I be using? What is the premium language?
Yeah, so there's a couple of, so there's a way to, I always give an example. So this is going to be probably easier if I give the example. So let's say that I'm a marketing coach. If I were speaking to a disempowered person, it would sound something like this. So you have okay, coach, you have downloaded all of the freebies available online, but nothing is working still. You have tried hiring other coaches, but you still feel like nobody has helped you get any results, and you're wondering why. And you're feeling stressed because you need to pay rent next month and you don't have no idea where the money is going to come from. And you're tired of having to invest and not get any results. Does this sound like you? That sounds very common. Don't you feel like
very common? Very common. I agree.
What can you tell me what you heard me say as a disempowered trait in that message?
Yeah, the person's operating on lack and scarcity, and there's not enough money for rent, and they're in fear mode, and they're absolutely afraid of the business not working. So it's complete scarcity mindset.
Right. The energy where they're at is not ideal, is not they can't even operate to possibility out of there. So that's the disempowered language. And notice that a lot of coaches, a lot of people, you see this language on the internet all of the time. And this is why in my company, we don't operate based on industry standards, meaning either open rates or just even how the way to do business. Like I bypass all of that because industry standards are created out of these kinds of standards where fear is the norm, where, oh no, you got to have 10,000 people in your list in order to convert 0.1%. Like who says? Like, no, if you have an empowered message, if you have a clear message, like me, I made $2.5 million last year with an audience of 3,000 people in my list. How does that make any sense? Why? Is because of the way that I speak to them, the way that I communicate, the way that they feel me is very different, right? I don't treat people like a number. And so, and I have a very clear message that speaks to an empowered version of the client. So to give you a distinction of what it would look like to speak to an empowered version of my client, and this is who they are, for example. So for me is, okay, so this is the example. So you have started your coaching business and you have worked with some clients and they can't stop sending you love notes. You obviously are doing the work in the world that you were meant to do because their lives are being transformed. The problem is that now you want more of these clients that you love working with, but also that pay you more because you believe that what you have to offer is so valuable, is so important for them, but you just don't know how to communicate the value of your message. That is what I help you do. And I know that you don't want to hire a coach because you feel like without a coach, you will fail. You could totally figure this out on your own. This whole marketing thing, you could probably go study it, Google it, whatever, but you don't want to spend your time doing that. You value time more than money, and you want somebody who can help you get results much faster. That's why you want to hire a coach. Do you see the difference?
Yes, very much so. So even when you're speaking, you're empowering them and making them believe in themselves and making them realize that, yeah, you can do this on your own, but you're going to come to me for faster results. That's pretty much it. And the fact that, they're already doing a fabulous job at the moment.
Yeah. So, and so exactly. And so that is one of the things that the secrets, I'm revealing some secrets here. The reason why I'm able in my business to sell a 5-figure offer, which is the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind, without a sales team, which is unheard of, a front end offer, 5 figures without a sales team, is because I am extremely good or extremely mindful of speaking to my best client and helping them remember how powerful they are, building up their confidence, not using fear to break down their confidence. And that installs a lot of certainty in themselves, which makes it easy for them to trust themselves to make a decision, because I've been building their confidence with my content, building their certainty. I see you, I believe you, I know you can do this. And those are the people that come to me who pay without ever talking to me $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 for the mastermind, which is, I mean, I don't know if anyone in the world does it. So,
wow, so you do this without talking to them?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I've never heard that. So I have a similar offer, but I do speak to them, but I charge them for that. So if someone wants to speak to me, I would need to assess their money blocks. I get them to pay me a small fee. It's not much at all. And then from there, if they're suitable, then I invite them to come to the mastermind. But even I have never heard of anybody doing this, where you charge a premium price without even a sales cost. They just go and buy on your sales page. Is that it?
Yeah, so we have they go check it out on the sales page. We have an application. The application is very thorough because that's really our point of communication. And they have to put a $500 deposit in order to submit the application, because we get so many applicants that I needed to filter out the people who are actually serious. And once I read the application, if they're accepted, then those $500 go towards their investment. Or if they're not accepted, then the $500 are refunded.
And then they have to pay the rest of whatever the fee is.
Yeah, and then they get an invoice to pay, whether in full or use a payment plan.
But nowhere along here are you actually having a conversation. You're not getting on a sales call with them. You're not having a conversation with them.
No.
Wow. Okay, that is unbelievable. I believe someone else. Have you heard of Scott Alford?
Yes.
Okay, so Scott Alford, he talks like that. He talks about not having a sales teams and not doing this and just scaling a business without getting into conversations. So cool. He's the first person, because he used to be one of my mentors, and because I still follow him, he talked about this a lot, and I couldn't fathom I couldn't get my head around it, how you would allow premium people into your world without having at least a sales conversation. And that's why I didn't take it very seriously. But it's interesting to see that you've done it yourself.
Yeah, I don't know what Scott's approach is, but for me is all about my belief in my client. So for example, I didn't believe that it was possible to have people pay me without a call. I was doing sales calls day in and night. I mean, and they all converted. It made no sense for me to remove sales calls because I was converting at 100%. Everybody wanted it. And so I was very torn letting sales calls go, but I was burned out. I was always on the phone basically, because we had about 40 people in each cohort. It's just a lot of sales calls. And so I had to really notice where my lack mentality was living in my business. And I had a belief that lack came from me believing that my clients needed me to make a decision and that my presence was required in order for them to trust me and to make a decision. And I didn't realize how I was taking their power away by having that belief. So I was making them small and I was making myself bigger and required. And that was playing subconsciously, was playing into my ego. So I had to clean all of that up. This is like the energetics that it's like, you don't see these things operating in your subconscious. And so I had to clean that up. This is what I help my clients with too, and really reestablish a new definition of the relationship that I get to have with my clients, where they're fully empowered, they fully believe in themselves. And I got to set the standard for how I want my clients to feel about themselves and feel about my program and feel about their decision. And I got to work on those beliefs. So that is what my whole sales process is based off, is really I have full belief that my clients are excellent decision makers. when people have sales teams, they don't believe that, they're like, they can make a decision. That's why they need to speak to somebody. I don't think that my clients need to speak to somebody. I think they need to feel my heart. They need to feel me, and I can do that with my marketing.
Okay, that sounds really, really, really interesting. And so when you talk about attracting premium clients, do you work with them as well? And with energetics, do you help them to clear their energy? What do you do?
Yeah. So what I do, I'm a very strategic, pragmatic, practical person. So strategy is where, our clients come in and we teach them the strategy. So the things that we need to upgrade, the practical stuff. I have a copy coach that helps them helps them upgrade their copy so that their posts are converting to clients. But really the work that I do that is unique, that is, I don't know. I've never really, I mean, if you know somebody, let me know, because I would love to hire them, but I haven't found somebody who does it like me. I'm able to listen to what the client problem is and understand whether that is an emotional block, or if it's a mental block, or if it's something that is energetically blocking them. And I'm just able to precisely focus on what the core is. And so I'm able to do all things on the call, and then very easily go into a strategy that might support the implementation of that mindset shift. So I help them, from the emotional, mental, and energetic aspect down to the practical and strategic. And it's kind of like a hard combo, because normally you have people who are really good at either one or the other. I just happen to have like a really great precision around those four aspects.
Interesting. I mean, what I find is it's a lot of the things you mentioned highlight the fact that the people, when people have sales teams, or when people have this idea of getting premium clients, they have limiting beliefs, but then they also attract clients with limiting beliefs because they expect their clients to have those limiting beliefs and those scarcity mindset. So what you've gone ahead and done is, first of all, cleared all your limiting beliefs about what's possible for you. Then you cleared all the limiting beliefs that could possibly be in your clients, and now are attracting those clients without those limiting beliefs, and who need to come in and to get support from you to be able to scale up and go to those 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever they want to go for. But they are coming from an empowered place, not a scarcity mindset. And you purposely attract them energetically towards yourselves, rather than attracting the ones which are in the fear mindset, who can barely make next month's payment, who want the payment plans. And there's nothing wrong with payment plans. I think I offer them all the time, but it's having, I recently I took somebody into mastermind, and that individual is, they've got themselves so spread thin, and they paid me the first month's installment, a deposit. And she's very keen to, in the next few months to pay all off. And I know she will, but it was because there was lack of cash flow, not lack of money, but there's lack of cash flow at times. So she came into the payment plan. My point being, you have to know your clients inside out. That's what I'm getting the message from you. And if you are thinking that your clients have this lack and scarcity mindset, they have these limiting beliefs, then those are the clients you're going to attract. This is what I've understood from you. And if you want to attract premium clients who behave in a premium manner, then you need to sit down and become very clear as to the kind of clients you wish to attract. But you can't do that until you remove your own lack and scarcity, remove your own limiting beliefs.
You articulated that so well.
So this is and if you can combine the two together, we'll do inner work first. And as you grow as a person, you can start reshaping your ideal client avatar, and allowing them to get the upgrade that you're giving to yourself in the process, and then attract those clients. And that's hitting the nail on the head. That's me putting it in summary with what you just told me. Is that right?
That's about right. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that is a fabulous way to look at it. I love that, Juliana. You're not only empowering yourself, but you're also empowering your clients. And of course, they want to work with you. Most people they go to, or they would have heard, is like, you've got this wrong with you, you've got that wrong with you, you've got this wrong with you, you've got that wrong with you.
Yeah, no, not in my world. In my world, yeah, we're very clear and we're real about like, oh, here are the upgrades available. I always say upgrades available because there are things that are always up for upgrades, right? In our mind, in everything. And so there are always upgrades available, but we get to come from a really beautiful place. So that's just one of the beginning. I have 3 steps. That was step number 1. Do you want me to go into step number 2?
Yes, please. Quickly, because we are coming, but we'll hurry along a little bit.
I know. That's why I was like mindful of the time. Okay. So the second important thing to attract premium clients is to value your offer in a premium way. And so most coaches who are qualified to charge premium, they think that they need more time. Oh, let me just get more clients under the belt. Let me just wait until the next client. And my stance is, look, you can start premium now. You can start charging premium now. And I give them an exercise that I want to give everybody really quickly to really quantify that. If you double your price, let's say that you want to charge 5K or 10K for, let's say, relationship coaching. That seems like a lot because it's not a money-making offer, right? Like it's not business coaching. But when you think about a relationship coach or a dating coach for men who want to find their queen, and, you know, successful men who want to find their queen. Think about the amount of money men spend taking out the wrong women on dates that are not meant to be their queen, right? If they don't have a dating coach. Think about the amount of money they spend. Think about the amount of time they spend on all these dates instead where they could be spending it with their queen, with the right partner. Think about all the energy that they invest into these relationships that don't end up really going anywhere, and the false connections that get created only to like end up breaking up and then starting all over again when you don't have the guidance of the right coach to really help you heal your internal stuff so that you attract the right person. And think about the biggest one, that imagine what happens when you marry the wrong person. What do you think?
It's a big disaster. I've done that twice now.
Okay, so you know what it looks like. You get a divorce, and how expensive is it to get a divorce when you're a successful, right? Yeah. So let's say $200,000, $100,000 minimum. This is what people don't really understand. The lifetime value of not working with you, everyone who's listening right now, the lifetime value of not working with you is so high that's what you want to understand to price your program. You need to value your offer at that level so that you really get the importance of the transformation. And from there, you can decide, is it worth it for me to charge even 10K for this when I'm helping them save at least $200,000 from getting in the wrong divorce? Of course it is. Of course it is. Instead of thinking, oh, how many hours of coaching do you get? How many months is your container? How many like Voxer access and how many worksheets? Like that is not how you want to price your offer and how you want to value your offer. Any questions on that before I move to the third one, if we have time?
Yeah, we've got time. We normally do this. We've got enough time, don't worry. And this is a very, very interesting conversation anyway. Thinking about this now, hang a minute. So you need to, and I love this, because I think a lot of the time we try to see what is the market industry standing. And the reason why I say this is because this is more applicable to people from the corporate background. You know, people are used to judging their salaries according to what everyone else is earning. So when they come into the online space, and some of them can go on to become coaches, myself included. I remember when I first started, my hourly rate was the same as my corporate rate, which seemed excessively high. It didn't for my corporate work because I'm a lawyer. So I was charging, £500 an hour, which is very normal as a lawyer, but as a coach, I was thinking, who's going to pay me that? And of course, that was 6 years ago, so a long time ago. I moved away from that, but I can understand that. And every time I've moved my price up, there's been an internal thing like, oh, do you think people are ready for it? Do you think people can pay for this? And I know for a fact, I have testimonial after testimonial telling me somebody, one of my clients made €500,000. Somebody else is making 100,000 a month. I mean, crazy stories that come out from my work. So I know the value of my work. Yet when I look to charge, I'm thinking, it's a bit much. I wonder if, and I remember telling myself, like, be quiet. You are valuable. And obviously and then I don't give discounts either, of course. But I know for a fact that somewhere along the lines, I'm looking around subconsciously, because that's what I'm trained to do, to see, well, how much is everyone else charging? Maybe if I should be similar on similar standard as them. So
I have so much to say about that, but I'll let you finish.
So how do we come out from it? How do we stop comparing our prices to those around us?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. I develop a concept called pricing innovation for that particular reason, because it's interesting how most people look at the industry to define their own pricing, and we lose our innovation when it comes to pricing. We're like, it's like Steve Jobs was not looking at the world to create the iPhone. He innovated from scratch. And that is our job as entrepreneurs, to be fully innovative. And so the interesting thing is that if we look at other people's prices for inspiration, think about what a price is. What is a price? A price is a number. A number that came from where?
Out of the blue, half the time.
From their head.
Yeah.
From their head, right? From their thoughts. In thoughts that are crippled by lack, because majority of the world operates in lack. So really what we're doing when we compare prices, or when we look at people's prices, all we are like seeing is their limiting beliefs.
I'm going to add something to this, and because something just came to my mind was, a lot of the times, if you do start charging premium prices, you overcompensate. And I am guilty of this, by the way, not because I think my stuff isn't valuable enough, because I want to give all to extra stuff to my clients. And by the way, and the reason why I'm telling you this, and I can share this because I've stopped doing that now. Every time there was a client that I went above and above and helped with, not every time, I think but a few of the times, those were the clients who became the pain in my backside. There's one that comes to mind, and I'm not going to say her name. She stopped on month 7 of, can't remember, she still owes me 3 months of payments. And one of the issues was she felt icky that I gave her additional benefit that nobody else did, but because she needed it. So, and then I have another individual who I gave additional one-to-one times with, and he messaged me saying how he has been treated unfairly by my company, and my jaw just fell open. I'm like, dude, I've actually given you one-to-one time, which I shouldn't. It's not part of your package. It's above and board. How has my company treated unfairly? But anyway, what I found was people I gave extra time to, I felt that they needed extra support for, those are the ones who actually came back and became troublesome or problematic clients. How do you tell your people to, one, value your offer, and 2, you don't have to overcompensate and give additional things because someone needs it? Because what I should have done in both these situations was say, okay, fine. If you need the additional one-to-one support, then you need to add on a bit additional package and you need to pay additionally, rather than say, you know what, I know your problem cannot be solved, because this is where abuse comes in. So if there's an element of sexual abuse, I don't cover that in the group coaching. But then I should have asked them to book one-to-one with me, which I didn't then, I will now. What would you say to that in this situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing that happened for you here is your boundaries.
Yes.
It sucks that they did what they did, but really everything starts with us. I believe that we set the tone for how people treat us. And so you had let me be nice here, and you didn't have boundaries. So you violated your own boundaries, and then they violated your boundaries because you had violated them first. We all do this. Every single person goes through this at any point. And so it's important for anyone who's listening that you're going to be tempted to overgive because you're overcompensating for your price, or because you feel very deeply for the person on the other side of the phone, and you're like, oh, I bet they need it. Oh, but notice what that is. That is taking their power away. Oh, but you really need it. Oh, you stop believing in your client. You call forward their disempowered version.
Okay.
And so we need to stay really on top of ourselves, because we think we're being compassionate, we think we're being good, we think we're being nice, but actually we are not calling them forward to stepping to their next level. So we're doing them a disservice. And we start by doing that, we cross our own boundaries thinking, oh, let me just be generous. But that's the energetics that we entered from are not clean. And so your generosity was interpreted in a different way because it wasn't actually entering a clean way. And then we get into these dynamics where we're like, I can't believe it, I gave you so much, but really we were trying to overcompensate for what we think they needed, because we didn't see them in an empowered place. And so what's important is to understand how, like, where are your boundaries? So for me, I don't make exceptions when it comes to client. Everybody just goes under the same umbrella. And if they want something else, I ask why. And that's a whole conversation. But the important thing is have your own boundaries very clear so that people don't break them too. We need to honor our boundaries so that people also honor them. Does that make sense?
It does. And thank you so much. And it's really reinforced the idea that I come to anyway, that I had to be very firm with my boundaries. I don't believe the mastermind isn't worth it. I just felt that from that comment, oh, they need the extra help. Let me go and give the extra help because and I'm thinking, well, now, that's a conversation to have, as a separate conversation, and then we can talk about it. But it's about having those firm boundaries and not allowing somebody to overcome them. And I think this is quite important. Okay, so what's the third step then?
Okay, and so the third step. So the first step, just to summarize. So the first thing we need to do is elevate the quality of clients that you attract. Make sure that you're speaking to the empowered version and not the disempowered version. The second step is to value your offer by the long-term impact of not working with you, the cost of not working with you versus just the hours that they get with you on a package. And then the third most important thing that you can do is monetize your influence with a magnetic message. So here's what that means. If I gave every single person listening to this show 1,000 ideal followers right now to your page, clients, people ready to hire you, if they came to you and they looked at your, let's say, social media, would they know what you help them with? Would that be clear? What would they see? Would they see a clear message, a clear offer, or would they see tumbleweeds? Would they see, like, what is this person about? What is the problem that they help people solve? And so I find it so fascinating that people think, I need more leads, I need more traffic, I need more followers. But even if they get all the leads and all the followers, if they land on their profiles and they land on their website, their website doesn't come with a very clean and crisp message that speaks to the problem that they solve, the solution that they offer, and the pathway to help your client get there. And so what's important to understand is that, you can do, this is why I was able to do so much, and how my clients, like my client Julie, was able to just literally do these three things. And she went from making $170,000 a year to $1 million the next, which is insane. Not because she got more followers or because whatever. She had a small audience, but the thing is, we clarify her message. We elevated the version of her client, and then she started attracting the people. She called them forward. It was the same people, same audience, but we call them forward with a very clear message. And so you don't need a big audience in order to attract premium clients. Your premium clients are already sitting in your current audience, no matter how big, no matter how small. It's just that you haven't been speaking to them in that way. And so what I want, the distinction that I want to make in this point is that a clear message, one of the most important distinctions of a clear message is that you solve a very clear problem. This is what makes people want to pay you to solve that problem. It's very simple. It doesn't have to be, fancy and cute. The problem that I help people solve is kind of boring. I help you clarify your message to attract premium clients. It's pretty boring. It's not all the flowery things. But the reason why I keep it so simple is because our brains are always doing either two things. One, saving calories, or trying to survive and thrive. That's what we're doing. And so our brains file other people based on the problem that person helps you solve. So if your message is all over the place, people are going to ignore you. People are not going to pay attention. People are going to scroll right past you because your problem has not been well defined. And that is what a magnetic message does. It's not like crystals and magic. It's just that we need to cater to how the brain works when he's scrolling on social media or when he's watching a YouTube, whatever. It's always about speaking to a highly relevant problem and a very important applicable solution, and having a pathway to help the client go from where they're at to where they want to be.
Okay, so magnetic message, which is becoming very clear as to who you're speaking to, what you can help them with, and how.
Yeah, what is the problem that they have? What is a clear problem that you help people solve? Mm-hmm. And what is the end result that they're going to receive when they work with you, right? And this is an interesting conversation. This is why I work with my clients, because people are like, but at the end of working with me, they're going to have all these expensive things and all of it. And I'm like, that's okay, but we don't need to talk about that in your message, because we need to talk about what they're coming to you for. What are they coming to you for? That's what they're going to pay attention to. If you start talking about all these other things that are a byproduct, they're going to be like, oh, that's secondary. That's not primary need. So what they need is the result that they're looking for and to solve the problem that they have.
Brilliant. And that's actually really, really fantastic. So now we're going to wrap this up. Do you want to give a quick summary of all 3 steps once again, and then we'll wrap this up?
Absolutely. So I'm going to keep it super simple. The first step is to elevate the quality of clients that you attract. By that, I mean to go from speaking about pain points and disempowered traits of your client to empowering them, to empowering language that helps them see themselves in a way where they believe more in themselves, where they're even more confident in making decisions. The second aspect is to value your offer in a premium way. So looking at the lifelong cost of not working with you, how much money, how much time, how much energy are people going to be spending without working with you? And then grounding yourself in the value of your $5,000 or your $10,000 or your $50,000 that you charge, and understanding that that's a drop in the ocean for the amount that they would be paying long-term if they didn't work with you. Don't price based on hours, on sessions, or on weeks, or on modules. That's not how to price correctly. And the third one is monetizing your influence with a magnetic message. And what that means is being super clear. Your message doesn't have to be some woo-woo, like fancy inspirational thing. It just has to, at the core, solve a really clear problem and offer a very clear solution, because that is going to have people pay attention, who have the problem, pay attention to you and not ignore you in social media or in any of your marketing materials.
Fantastic. So that's it for today. Tell us, Juliana, how can you connect with you? Where can you find you on the internet?
Yeah, so follow me. Let's hang out on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at ITS Juliana Garcia. It's Juliana Garcia, basically. And then my website is julianagarcia.com. And there I have the Expose Your Truth Challenge, where I give you 30 prompts for 30 days to write content that attracts premium clients. So make sure you check that out. And I also have an amazing group of about 8,000 people. It's so much fun. I do lots of amazing trainings where I teach you these concepts. It's called the Magnetic Marketing Secrets for Entrepreneurs group on Facebook.
Fantastic. So if you're listening to us on the podcast, all the links that Juliana has just mentioned will be on the show notes. And if you're watching us on YouTube, then down below in the description section, we'll have other links. So do check her out. I think she's fabulous. She's opened up my mind, and we've had a longer conversation than normal, but it's been entertaining and very, very educational. Thank you so much, Juliana, for your wisdom and for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for listening to me and Juliana today on Money Talkies. I will be back on another Money Talkies segment with another amazing guest, finding out how you and I can build a better business. Until the next time we meet, this is Gull signing off. Take care and bye for now.